Hello duelists, I am here today and I want to do a little bit of a controversial video. I want to address a topic that I think comes out pretty commonly and I hear it talked about a number of different ways, and I want to give my take, and this is coming from someone who's been playing video games a quite a long time, and also played other games where you do have an option to spend. You have an option to open your wallet, take out your credit card, punch that number in as many times as you want, and naturally benefit from doing so. So I want to talk about kind of the large question of, is Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links pay to win? P2W as often people refer to it as, and kind of what that means and everything that's kind of baked into that question. So to start off, I want to talk a little bit about kind of how we got here, right? So these days, the games themselves are not necessarily what's generating the most revenue for companies that are producing them. Back when I was growing up, if I was playing Nintendo 64, you'd buy a console, you'd buy controllers, and you buy the game, and there's the money they get. I remember when Xbox came out and I was playing Halo 2, and new maps came out for Halo 2, and you could buy them for, I think it was like $5, and that happened twice, and it was an industry-changing thing. It may have happened with other games too, but that's really the one in my mind that jumps out. Now, these days, a lot of the games are provided, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, that are free to play, free to download. You don't have to do anything there. But if you want to reach the highest level of the game or just speed up your progression, then you have the option to buy in-game purchases. Now, the reason this works so well for the company is they understand that instead of just charging every player to download and having a smaller audience, this makes the game wider, but at the same time, they can generate a lot of revenue from a smaller number of people, and those people are willing to spend a lot, whereas it may not benefit them as much to just make everyone spend a little bit, and again, cap what that audience can look like, the kind of viability of competitive play, all of those type of things. So that is how the gaming industry has shaped over time in a nutshell. Now, before I go any further, I want to be clear that I believe that there is no right or wrong way to play. With this topic, now there's no right or wrong way to play the game. Whether you log in to play a couple duels casually at any level of PvP or even casual duels a couple times a day, a couple times a week, a couple times a month, totally fine. That's your choice. You're having fun. Whether you want to push and you want to try to get to King of Games and really fight through the struggles up and down and, the odds of playing a card game hoping you get a good draw and not too many bad draws and can be consistent, I get a lot of fun out of that challenge. I have made it to King of Games every month this year, and I enjoy do that. And I like kind of the competitive aspect as well. And there's players that'll be in the top 100, top 10 even regularly of KC Cups and events like that. Whatever you're getting out of this game, you are right. I hope that you're enjoying it. I hope you're doing things in your life that you enjoy. I don't want to tell anyone they're right or wrong for doing it, but that is your choice and you are right. Now, the same thing goes with your money. If you want to take out your credit card and spend on the game, I don't think we should shame anyone for doing it. It is completely your choice. It is your money, and that is one of the beautiful things about this world. I will say on a personal note, I hope that if you do choose to spend, that it's something that you can afford, that you're not, holding your life back in other aspects because you're spending on a game or anything like that. But that's just a personal touch. No one is wrong or right in this game for how they play it, including if they choose to spend money. So the first angle I think to take on it is looking at what is the impact of paying. So, like, what do you actually get if you want to take out your credit card and enter it in the game to get some packs there? So, the most that you can get out of using your credit card is to get essentially 3 copies of every single card in the game. Obviously, you can get more than that, but any deck is only going to allow you to have 3 cards, 3 of the same card in it. So that is kind of the value. Now, if you're opening like selection boxes and main boxes or mini boxes, you're going to get more than 4, or I'm sorry, more than 3 in a lot of cases. I think there's like URs that I have 4 or 5 of from doing that at times, but 3 is really the cap of where you're getting the most value. Now, the game supports you doing this by allowing you to buy packs at any time. As you can see on the screen here, there is a sale going on. These sales are very, very common, so they make it a little bit more affordable to do that. So you'll get bundles sometimes of X amount of packs for X, dollars or wherever the currency is where you're playing. Sometimes you'll get an SR or an UR card in addition to get those packs. Sometimes the packs will just be cheaper than normal. And sometimes it'll be like a giant bundle of a lot more plus gems or something like that. So fairly flexible. So, you know, there are some players that'll only decide to buy during sales if there's one card they're pursuing, or there's players that when a new box comes out, they're going to buy enough packs to go through 3 cycles of it and maybe use gems, maybe not if they have them, whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, the most value you're going to get out of it is having 3 of every card. Now, you can absolutely play this game and effectively, you know, you can argue how effective, but definitely effectively without spending any money in the real world. You can have nearly any card you want, but I want to be clear, you just can't have all of the cards you want. I haven't done the exact math, and it obviously relies a lot on how you are grinding, like how often kind of you're playing and the gems you're getting. But it's very likely, like every couple of months, you can have one of the top meta decks. You're just not going to have all of the meta decks because you're not going to be able to go through every box 3 times based only on the resources that the game will give you in gems to be able to collect that. A big piece of this that you're going to be able to get the gems from is first off leveling up your characters. So you're going to be able to level 1 to 45 for some of the earlier characters, 1 to 40 for some ones that came after that, and then I think 30 and 35 for more recent ones. I think they just bumped up range to 35 there. But with that, they add new characters pretty often, so you're never really going to be truly stuck unless you've been playing a very long time. All of your characters are max level and you grinded that way, but you're also going to be getting gems from playing PvP and leveling up there. You know, the number of duels that you're winning in PvP monthly, you'll also get rewarded for. And then any ongoing events, if you're playing those to the fullest, you're going to be able to get a fair number of gems from. The gems are fairly sparse, again, so even if you have 9,999 in the top right corner of your screen, you can't go through a main box 3 times fully with that. So there's a challenge to it. I mean, it's designed that way for a reason, and you know, Konami knows what they're doing there. But the next thing I want to jump into then is if you decide to spend, what is next? So, as I mentioned, the most you're going to get out of it is 3 of each card. You need the cards to play the game, but they do not guarantee anything for your results. We have all played with a brand new deck, and let's say I just decided to spend and I bought 3 copies of every card in Zillion Thunder, the box to recently come out. I go through it 3 times, I have 3 of all the URs and plenty more of every other card there. So I've spent money, but if I'm playing with all new cards, I am not guaranteed any result at all. I need to figure out how to play those cards, I need to figure out how to make the right deck with them, all of the things like that, and it is never guaranteed for a win. You know, I am of the understanding that a really skilled player with a little bit of a worse deck is generally going to do better than an unskilled player with the best deck that just doesn't know how to play it. So skill is always a very important factor, and you cannot buy that, no matter how many times you enter in your credit card. And to be clear, there are games out there that you can continue to spend on. We have kind of a hard cap in this game, like I mentioned, of the effectiveness of spending stopping after you get 3 copies of every card. There's games where the more you spend, kind of the more powerful your character will become, or your player will become, or anything like that, with almost no cap. You can just keep going and going and going until you're number 1 in the world, essentially at times because you've spent the most. This is absolutely not one of those games. There is no way, no matter how much you spend, that your Dark Magician is going to have 3,000 attack points instead of 2,500. You can't buy more attack points, defense points, life points, anything like that. That is not what the role of spending is, and I think that is the difference in what, in my opinion, does not make this a pay-to-win game. I've seen plenty of like massive multiplayer online games that is the case where you just keep going and going, and that is like a true play to win game in my opinion. This is not that. Instead, what I think this is pay to compete. And what I mean by that is when you look at the top level of gameplay, nearly everyone has access to all of the cards they need to make pretty much any deck they want. Now, it's not that one player is going to have more resources than the others, but spending is going to get you to a level where you're not going to be able to reach otherwise. And again, there's a hard cap there of the effectiveness, but players are at that level. and you're basically paying to compete at that level then. You're not paying to just purely win. Now, as I mentioned, skill is a huge factor, but your top level tournaments are basically flooded with players that are at this level there. Now, if you want to become like the ultimate Duel Links player, I do suggest that you're going to have to spend. But someone willing to spend with a top level of skill that is obtained from years of playing, understanding the cards available, probably have some understanding of Master Duel and TCG as well, and the different cards coming out, how they've been played, different decks and constructions of what you can expect from your opponent playing a certain deck, what, let's say, trap cards or spell cards they can have face down, quick plays that can be against you, and kind of determining that into how you're playing, what cards you should have in your deck, what resources you can lean on of online sites and things that are going to help on the learn and build your own deck, stuff from like that. There is so much that goes into being a truly top level gifted and skilled player with this game that don't have much to do with money, but when you can bring money together with those other things, I think that's when you see these players that are constantly in the top 100 of KC Cups and things like that. And that is when you're able to get as far as you want truly in this game. So that is why I think that Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links is pay to compete, not pay to win. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Am I oversimplifying it, or is there an angle that I'm forgetting here? Do let me know your thoughts, but I am pretty adamant about my position here. So happy to entertain conversation.